My brothers and sisters, and everybody that is listening to me right now, God bless you all in Jesus' name. Amen. The person you're hearing his voice now is a young man who was delivered from a secret society. You're going to listen to my open confession about how I joined the secret society and also all the evils I committed as a secret society member, and finally how God delivered me from the secret society.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, God bless you. The video I have for you to watch, I don't have so much to say here, but I just want to use this to, maybe it is going to come in two parts. It's a story of a young man that became so inquisitive, and you're going to hear his story, but the long and short of it is that he joined a cult group very early in life and became so rich and very popular. I've always told people that sometimes you may look at someone that you think you know or that you thought you knew, and you almost want to ask God, but God, why is it like this with me? Don't fret because of the prosperity of a stranger. You really do not know what he has done to get to the place where he is. Even somebody you think you know, you actually may not know the person too well. There are some ladies that are, they're bamboozled by the display of wealth, by some guys. They do not know that such display of wealth is a death trap, for their souls. And a lot of them have been, caged. And some young men in the quest to become like Mr. ABCD, have also lost their lives. Many have lost their lives because in the end, they became sacrifice, to appease these things. So you're going to hear the story of this young man. I'm going to make it in two parts. We're going to hear how he entered and what he did, his achievements and his enterprise, all that he did while he was in the occult, and how he even killed his mother, killed his sister's children, in order to keep himself up. Then eventually in part two, I'm going to show you how he managed to escape, how he came out from the cult. But as I leave you to watch this is part one. This is not an entertainment, but just something for you to use to educate yourself and educate your children, educate people around you. The Bible talks about godliness with contentment being with great gain. Thank you very much. I will just plead and ask that you share the link and put your comment in the comment section. Please help to like the video so that it will reach farther to people. God bless you. I'll be seeing you in part two. Thank you so much. Shalom.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom.
I will start from the very beginning. I mean, how it all started, from the very onset of my life, my evil life, and the rest of all. My name is Chukudalo Onejeku. I am from Ihiala in Anambra State, but I am popularly known and called Chïldrën here in Onitsha, where I had chains of businesses. My mother named me the name Chukudalo for some obvious reasons. May her gentle soul, which I, her son, sold to the devil in exchange for money, rest in perfect peace. Amen. I was named so because I am the only son in my family. I have 9 elder sisters, and 8 of them are happily married now, except for my immediate elder one, Juliet. We had a very happy home located somewhere in Onitsha. I won't mention the name precisely for security reasons. We were not too rich, but we were very comfortable. My father was a successful businessman, and my mother a housewife. My arrival brought joy to my family, especially to my mother, who needed a male child desperately. because of pressure from my father's relation, because they were pressurizing him to get a second wife who would bear him a male child, since my mother could not. My mother spoiled me with gifts and affection. I didn't lack anything, but she went too far in her love and affection, because it later got into my head and I became a spoiled child. As I grew up, I started mixing up with people I like, the wrong people. I later became too demanding, to the extent that my parents became almost tired of my unending and persistent requests. My quest for material things later landed me into the hands of a secret society young man by name OK, under the age of 25. I was only 24. Though he's dead now as a result of his commitments, I was initiated into the secret society by him. He lured and initiated me into a very dreaded cult. A cult that many people today see and believe is a Christian gathering because of what they make people to believe. The cult is known as Shankara, and the headquarters is in Bauchi State, with branches in almost all the major cities of Nigeria. I am not afraid of anybody because I have received God's anointing of protection. Therefore, I am covered with the blood of Jesus Christ. What I want you to do for me is to listen, and listen attentively, so that you will learn from my experience. After that, I will tell you how to recognize a secret cult member as soon as I finish my confession. I will expose every practice of the secret society people, so that when anything happens in your way, you will know. So after my initiation, my ordeal began. I made money quite alright, enough to feed a community, even a city. But the big question is, how was the money coming? The money first started coming through blood sacrifice of innocent kids. I was mandated by our chief priest to sacrifice to our cult the blood of innocent kids below 5 years on monthly basis as a retribution, and also to get as rich as I wanted. You know, in the spirit world or secret cult, you are promoted according to the number of people you have killed or sacrificed, or according to the heads you have donated to your cult, and that also determines your riches. And the kids in question must relate to me according to our chief priest. That was how I started killing my sister's children one after the other. It was very difficult to do, but I couldn't do otherwise, or else I would die. It continued to the extent that people began to say that my family is a cursed one. Let me explain to you how I operated without suspicion, so that if such things happen in your way, you will be able to understand and avoid it. By that time, 8 of my sisters were married with kids, and each time I was to donate innocent kids' blood, to the Grandmaster, because that's the name we use for Lucifer himself. We see him in physical form because our cult is one of the most devilish and dreaded cults in this country. So I will simply buy nice gifts, probably clothes, shoes, chocolate bars, bread, or anything at all. I will first of all take them to our temple for spiritual works, then before taking it to them. You know, as expected, I'll be welcomed as one who has come to visit his sister and family, but unknown to them that I have come to steal and to destroy. Then, in order not to leave any traces, I will buy things for all the kids. 1 week after such visit, the desired child will die mysteriously. It continued this way until I succeeded in killing about 11 of my sister's children in exchange for money. You know how news fly. People, especially my town people, started wondering why such things were happening to my family. Accusing fingers were being pointed at my family as a cursed family. Some even accused my mother to be the witch that was eating her grandchildren. How could a mother as lovely as mine eat or kill her own grandchildren? It is true that things like that happen, unknown to them that I was there causing the whole problem. I would even be the first to rush to condole them. that is any of my sisters, anytime any of those children died, I would be quick to give them enough money that would wipe away their tears. Sometimes I wouldn't mind giving them about 200,000 naira. I had more than enough money, and above all, I was a philanthropist, especially to my victims. I give as much money as that because then I would be sure of making more money that would run into millions of naira in exchange of the head I donated. That is my sister's children, male ones especially. My mother was always crying her eyes out because of people's accusation, coupled with her grandchildren's mysterious deaths. Which should I even talk about and leave the other? I committed a lot of crime and a lot of evil at my tender age of 24. I did what my mates could not do. If you see me then, even now, you wouldn't believe I could kill a fly because I have an innocent and handsome face and I don't talk too much. I would be better called a slow poison. Then I was always spending money at functions and occasions of people of high caliber. My dressing alone and the type of cars I use will tell you that I was on money, real cash. I travel out of the country at will. You know people now, that is what they want and what they like. I was always invited to occasions, especially luncheon, and nobody would even be interested to know how you make your money. The important thing is that you have money, and provided you spend it on people visibly, you will be regarded as a nice person. And this is why some secret cult members, and depending on the cult and the person's pledge or covenant, if the person is philanthropic, people will not suspect their wealth at all. Though their philanthropy usually have limits because they cannot help you when in need. Rather, they will choose to do things only in public places so that people will see and praise them. Then guests we are rushing. You know our guests now. When you are rich, they will be coming to you whether you like it or not. Most times I receive toasting letters from different girls, especially married women, asking and begging me to be their boyfriend. Some who have guts will even explain in their letters how good they are in bed. I don't blame them though, because I was a young and handsome millionaire who has taste for everything. I was then changing girls like clothes. Then I had about 26 girlfriends and the numerous ones I was having flings with. Well, it's a pity I rendered many of those girls useless because they wouldn't be able to bear children in their lives except by divine intervention. I used their wombs for sacrifice, and in return I rewarded them with plenty of cash and gifts. You know, we give to only those that give to us. And the worst of it all is that when they go to hospitals for check, the womb will be there. I mean, it will be seen there, but spiritually there is no womb. And it takes a good man of God to dictate that. I want you to know that the world today is being controlled in the spirit world, and you also know that the spiritual controls the physical. Let me tell you how I did it. After making love to those numerous girls of mine, I will use a white handkerchief to clean up their private parts and then take it to our temple for sacrifice. And through such sacrifices, the womb will be removed and taken spiritually. We will visit the person in dream and take away her womb without her knowledge. But if the girl in question protests, or maybe when I want to use the handkerchief on her, I will just try to convince and fool her. Or maybe sometimes I will tell them that it is more hygienic to use handkerchief than toilet roll, and they will stupidly accept. Or I will tell her that it is to prove my love for her, though it is always too hard for any of those girls to protest, and this is because of the kind of treatment I give to them. In return for all the sacrifices I was making, my business was moving very well, and there was more than enough money to spend. I was dealing in so many things, and my business was booming. It was booming because of my court backings. If I import anything, even if it is physics, that is shit, it doesn't get or touch the ground, and people will finish everything. And this is courtesy of my court. If I go for any contract without wasting time, I will get it at once. I had everything going for me as a young man, and people were envying me not knowing my real source, not knowing the secret I had. My numerous offices in Onitsha were very lucrative and successful. They are all the talk of town, ranging from my business centers that were scattered all over Onitsha, with branches in Aba, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Abuja. My numerous boutiques stocked with only imported materials and goods, and my general merchandise outfit. Everything was booming. Though when I joined the secret society newly, my business first started in the main market before it expanded so much that I had to go out of the market. Then I dealt with so many young men that were in my line, that is in my zone of business. Some I made their money diminish, while some I took their stars, and up to this moment they didn't know I was responsible for all the calamities that befell the boys in our zone then. But all is vanity upon vanity. What have I gained after rendering those young boys useless? Let me not talk about that one, because it's much and there are much to talk about. But I want to talk mostly on my killings, those I killed for money ritual. Let me tell you how I killed my own mother, my precious, sweet, loving mother, who loved me so much, but in return I sold her soul to the devil for money. Later on, as time went on, I was told to stop donating kids and start donating adults, and that the first should be a relation I love most. And the only person I loved most then was my mother, because she pampered me so much. So I developed love for her at tender age. I killed her because I couldn't do otherwise, or I would die. So I had no other option than to sacrifice her. Sacrificing her also promoted me in the demonic world, because she's my blood. This is how I killed her. When I was through with the spiritual aspect of her death, that is, everything is done spiritually before the physical aspect of it. Then before her death proper, I went to see her in the duplex I built for her and my immediate elder sister. I was living alone in my house at GRA, a duplex I also bought there. She complained of a nightmare she had, how someone died in our family, an adult. She actually saw it in her dream, but because she wasn't strong in God, or else she would have prayed and destroyed the plants. My mother didn't know she was the one that would die, and she later died. I actually went to see her for the last time before her death. And the day she died, she went to buy some things in a supermarket. My sister Juliet, who was living with her, wasn't around. It was on a Saturday. After shopping in the supermarket, she came out of the supermarket and was heading to where she parked her car, the car I also bought for her. After parking what she bought into the boot of the car, a reversing car kissed her slightly from behind and she fell to the ground, and that was the end. She was rushed to the hospital by the same man that hit her, and the doctor confirmed her dead. My sisters wanted to raise hell on the case, but because I knew what happened, I was quick to calm the situation. I wasn't interested in making trouble with the man, because I know I killed my mother, not him. Therefore the matter rested there. This is why some accidents you see today are not natural at all, and sometimes innocent people are killed in the process. Sometimes they are killed alongside with the victim, and this is why you must pray every time you want to travel for protection from God. Let me also tell you how I donated a bosom friend of mine, a childhood friend by the name Uchenna. His mother didn't like how I made my money. She was suspecting my money as being spiritual because she knew me from childhood. She was always warning her son against me, but the guy was adamant because I was always spending money on him. I asked him to accompany me to a traditional wedding at Owerri, and he excitedly agreed against his people's wish. Then he was still living with his parents because he was still in the university in final year. He hadn't met up like me despite the fact that we were mates. Uchenna joined me in my car, not minding his people, but unknown to him, that was his last day on earth. From Onitsha, we headed to Owerri, and to make my usual impression, I first stopped at Mr. Biggs in town and bought a lot of things, which we ate, and Uche was too happy. As we were cruising on Onitsha-Owerri Expressway with enough sound in the car, at the appointed time and the place, because we work with time in the occultic or demonic world, I was in a very high speed when one of my front tires burst and the car somersaulted uncontrollable times before landing and resting inside a bush. I came out quietly unhurt even before people could come, and they were surprised that anybody could have survived such an accident. They started thanking God and saying that I was a lucky man indeed. After arranging for Uchenna's corpse deposition to a mortuary, I went to one of our members' hospital in Onitsha and pretended to have sustained some injuries in the accident. Besides, our member who owns the hospital knew what to do, and he did it perfectly well. I was bandaged all over, and one of my legs was covered with POP, so that everything would look convincing, because the car damaged beyond repair. Some weeks later, I was discharged from the hospital, and I went straight to Uchenna's house to condole his people. I went with the sum of 250,000 naira, but the suspecting mother refused to accept the money, while the poor father wanted the money. The matter almost caused trouble in Uchenna's family because his brothers and the father needed the money badly. As far as they were concerned, the money was too much to be ignored, but the mother thought his brothers and the father needed the money badly. As far as they were concerned, the money was too much to be ignored, but the mother thought otherwise. At last, the poor father and his other sons collected the money at the back of his wife, but unknown to him, he collected and spent the money of his son's blood. In fact, poverty is bad. Anybody who doesn't have money is almost a dead person in our land today. Money is sweet, but a lot of things accompany it. Deeper things that ordinary eye cannot see. If you see a rich person, don't rush to him or her because you don't know how he made his money. Besides, we, the secret society people, don't help people. Even if we help you, we do so for a purpose which must be something to gain from you spiritually. Example, we can help you to take your star even without your knowledge. People don't seem to understand this fact, and that is why they fall into our trap. Let me tell you, it is very possible because everything happens spiritually, and only the few righteous ones can survive it or can avoid it. When I say righteous, I don't mean churchgoers as the case may be in our society today. Almost everybody claims to be born again, when actually most of them are evildoers, hypocrites, and that is why you see people dying mysteriously, especially those who call themselves Christians. There are many cases of death here and there. I will tell you later how we deal with fake Christians in the demonic world. So back to what I was saying about snatching people's star or luck. For instance, when I was in the main market, please, I want anybody who is a trader to listen to this. Listen very carefully to this because it has to do with traders. If I see any hardworking boy with bright future and I want to take his star, I will simply call his attention. I will deceive him and lend him some money so that he will do turnover with it, and that is all. From that day he collected the money from me, he will start having problems in his business because his star has been taken away through the money he collected. More so because he collected an evil money. And from there he will start running around. Then he will start thinking that some people are after him, and he will start accusing people wrongly. Or sometimes, if I want to drain people's money, everybody should also listen to this attentively. If I want to drain somebody's money now, I will simply sell my goods on credit to them because I was a wholesaler. Then after that, I will use the credit contact to drain their money spiritually. This is because credit has spiritual effect, and whatever that is done physically has a spiritual effect. Then after that, they won't be able to recoup even the cost price of the goods bought. Within that period they were owing me, they will be having problems with money, not until they pay me my money. And I won't even be bothered to ask them to pay me because I know I will be gaining. This is why it is not good to buy goods on credit. But when you buy and pay cash, it won't be possible to drain your money because there won't be any spiritual contact since you paid cash. Every trader should be careful of people around them. Meanwhile, there are other ways of snatching people's star or draining people's money, which is mostly practiced by traders these days. I will talk more about it as I go on. Therefore, traders should beware. Know the type of people you buy goods from on credit, because when I was in the main market, I used this system to render many boys in my zone useless. Their money got finished and some of them started doing odd jobs to feed. They started pushing wheelbarrow and so many other things just to eat. Until today, some people are still doing it. So be very careful. I know some people will not be happy with me for divulging this secret. Some secret society members especially won't be happy with me because those of them that are into trading use this way to tie mostly their family members by snatching their stars and turning them into dummies. I don't care whether they are happy or not. I am going to expose all their evil practices so that everyone will be careful and avoid them because they are wicked. And this is why sometimes in a family, only one person will be rich as if others are not hardworking. Let me tell you, my brother, God created everybody to be very, very progressive and comfortable in life. If not for the greedy ones around, this world would have been a better place for all. People want to have quick and too much money, and that is why they fall into the temptation of joining secret societies like I did, not knowing it's not easy there. Devil can never give you something for nothing. And the worst of it is that once you are in, no going back or coming out, except by God's intervention, as it is in my case. Before I round up, I will tell you how God arrested me, how I was converted, but it will come last. So my brother, if you are poor today and there is only one person that is rich in your family, try and do something to help yourself, because nobody is meant to be poor in this life. It is true that everybody must not be equal in riches. Some are meant to be richer than others. Therefore, if you find yourself in a certain situation, consult a true man of God for solution. Though such people will always try to discourage you not to see a man of God, because if you do, things will change and turn against them. I will teach you how to know secret cult members so that if your relation belongs, you'll be able to know and avoid them. They are always very rich because they have caged everyone in the family. Sometimes they appear to be very philanthropic because they like giving alms publicly. They like giving people things where people will see and praise them. In some cases, they can even build a house for their poor relation, especially those they have used his or her star for money. They do this so that their victims will be comfortable as to relax and not look for solution to their downfall. You know, the victims are usually poor and dependent because they can't progress in business. Even if they are given 1 million naira to set up a business, the whole money will diminish in no time. But people who don't really understand the situation will think that the person is extravagant or that he is very lazy. But it is not their fault because their star is gone. Another way of recognizing a secret society member is that they don't give out cash easily. They don't give out money at all. Rather, they will prefer to buy you food and drink. They can buy you a carton of beer comfortably, but beg them for money to set up a business. They will tell you stories or make empty promises. They are also the people that kill goats or cows for their kindred during festive periods, maybe Christmas or Easter period. They will pretend to kill a big cow as gift to their kindred people. But let me tell you, my brother, those things are for ritual purposes or sacrifice. And that is another way of taking people's star or luck, because the meat is not an ordinary meat, rather a spiritual meat. It is true that you will see it as a cow physically, but it is devilish. I'm not saying that people don't do harms to their relations by killing goats or cows to them, but you must be very careful. Anybody who eats of the meat will have his or her star transferred to the court guy who bought it. This is why some people will walk from year to year, no achievement. Be careful and don't let your longer throat for free cow or goat meat cost you your future and that of your children. Beware of such meats and manage whatever God provides for you. The world is bad now and nobody knows who is who. Therefore, don't trust anybody, even your blood brother. Evil has taken over the earth because the devil has made everybody to be money conscious, to pursue only money, no matter how it comes, forgetting the existence of God. I know evil men wouldn't like the way I am exposing them, but I don't care because God saved my life from a secret court. Therefore, I have to confess to the world so that people will be careful, especially those who want to join or belong newly. If you have a brother who cannot help you stand in business and who is always buying you things, assisting you only without helping you to build up, forget the person. His money is not genuine. Besides, he can never help you because if he does, it will affect him. It is against the rule. There are many evils that are being committed by cult members, and there are ways to know only if you have eyes. But today, I am going to reveal everything to you because those people are bad, though I was once one of them. But I want you to know that it is never anybody's wish to be bad, especially those who joined the cult members ignorantly. Rather, when or during the initiation, their original God-given kind heart will be removed and replaced with a wicked and devilish heart that thinks of nothing but destruction. This is why somebody you know that was once good suddenly turns bad overnight. It is as a result of secret cultism. Some people, when initiated, would make a covenant to the occult temple as a way of making sacrifice to the grandmaster. Some kill or deform their children, or even reduce them to an imbecile. This is why some rich men have imbecile among their children, and the imbecile is always given the best treatment among all the children. He is loved and cherished most because the money comes through him. Some cult people pledged to sacrifice all their male children. I will tell you how it is done. Their wives will give birth safely to only the female children that come into their womb. That is when they are pregnant. Then the male ones will never see the light of day. It is either the woman has a miscarriage at the early stage of the pregnancy, or she would give birth to a stillborn, that is a dead baby, provided the child is a male. He will sacrifice all his male children this way, and at the end of the day, you see him having only girls, and he won't be bothered about it because he is responsible for it. I know one of them who later had up to 10 girls and later adopted a male child from a motherless baby's home. Then, if his wife tries to become born again, maybe because of this problem, he will start picking unnecessary quarrels with her in order to subdue her, because if she eventually gives birth to a male child, maybe as she becomes born again, you know it is possible, but the man will die mysteriously because he has broken the rule, the covenant he had with the devil. Now tell me, of what use is such wealth? I am saying all this in the interest of those young boys especially, who may want to belong or who may want to join the secret society, all because of hardship. You better relax and wait for God's time to come, and it must surely come. The other type of cult members pledge to have only a child, mostly male child. He won't have any other issue. Every other child that comes by goes by miscarriage or stillborn. This is because he pledged to sacrifice other children that will come and have only one alive. But all is vanity upon vanity. His wife will be worried, you know, but he won't bother because he knows better. Even when his relations worry him to get another wife, he won't listen to them because he is the devil that eats his children for money. And he also spends money on the wife for consolation. Then the other type of cult members will tie everybody in his family and become the only rich one. This is how they achieve it. Sometimes they will slaughter a goat or cow, like I have said before, and anyone, that is any member of his family who eats of the meat, will have his fortune and destiny transferred to them. But most people are now aware of that, and nobody falls victim of it again. Therefore, they now employ other means people are yet to know. There is a particular secret society, an old one for that matter. When they build their house, they won't complete it. They will leave the house uncompleted. Sometimes they will deck and leave it for a long time, or they will leave some part of the building uncompleted. Mostly the ceiling or part of the wall will be left unplastered, or they won't paint it after completion. Not that they don't have the money to complete the house, rather, all these are for ritual purposes. If you live in such house, be careful because you won't progress there. You'll be having problems every time. People are supposed to know this society I'm talking about and their members. I won't mention names. Their house is never complete and it is an old secret society, almost the oldest in Nigeria, but people don't belong to it much again, except those initiated into it by their fathers because it is their way. They initiate their children before dying, or else their money and wealth will vanish and go back to where it came from. The other way of operation by cult guys is that they will see that your business is thriving. Traders should also listen to this, especially. Anybody who is a trader should listen to what I have to say now. They will approach you pretending to want to assist you or do a combined business with you. Mostly your neighbor in the market can do this to you. He wouldn't mind giving you a huge amount of money, maybe in case you are an importer and maybe you are about to travel abroad to import goods. When you allow them combine their evil money with yours, how the whole money will vanish, you won't know. It happens spiritually because they will stay in their altar and command or evoke the money, the whole money, to become theirs. The next thing you will hear is that the container fell into the ocean or that customs seized it. Already everything has taken place spiritually. And in order to confuse people, something will take the money physically. And that is why the container must fall into the water, so that it will look convincing to people. Now that I have mentioned altar, people will think it is still so. Let me tell you something. Secret cultism of today has gone nuclear. Time has passed when they reserve a room for altar purpose, or build a penthouse and they store their altar there, or put on rings all over their fingers. My brother, it is not so again, because they don't want to be noticed and avoided or feared by people around them, so that they can operate smoothly without traces. Therefore, they prefer using their central altar or setting their altar. That is, everything will be in the wardrobe, and whenever they want to use it, they will set it inside their room and pack it up after. Therefore, when you see a secret society member, don't expect to see rings on his fingers as in the olden days. And except you have spiritual eye, you cannot recognize them. Do you know that all these mad women that carry pregnancies around are being impregnated by secret cult members for money-making ritual? Go around town, you will see that pregnant mad women are too much, courtesy of them. May God have mercy on our people. They also indulge in homosexualism for demonic powers and fortification. Mostly pastors, traders, and politicians who belong to secret cult. They acquire what is called commanding powers through this practice. That is, a trader who is a secret society member who practices homosexualism acquires this commanding power to sell his goods as he wishes, and it happens so. That is, after opening his shop in the morning, he will make a command on that day's sales. That is, he may command to make a lot of sales that day. Then customers will start rushing to buy things from his shop endlessly. And pastors use this commanding power to perform miracles, signs and wonders. Are you surprised? Don't be surprised, my brother, because it is true. People in Aba and Onitsha should beware, especially in Aba, because there is a particular ministry running in Aba now, located somewhere at Obo Hill. The pastor practices homosexualism to recharge his powers, and he performs signs and wonders there. Every Wednesday, the majority of the members are women. They rush there for miracles, signs and wonders. People should be very careful so that they don't get possessed by evil spirits, higher ones, more than the ones they had before. Beware of signs and wonders. I am saying what I know, and I know they won't like it, but I don't care.